All right. Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen for you guys. You want this one for the moment. All right. We are going to take this so that I can present it. We're going to go over some of the rules today. Let's move together out of the way so that I can see what I'm doing. And then some other places that you can find some resources for all of the rule stuff, as well as going through how to set blocks in arbiter, accept games in arbiter, stuff like that. I asked Trevor to assign me some games so I can show you how to do that. He is also on the call, so he can help us out with that. So FIBA rules. Important places, Bob sent them out, so you will have them there. Other places that you can find them are on Game Plan or on the Basketball BC website. Literally, if you Google where to find them, you can find them. FIBA rules. It's not too hard to find them. So we're gonna go over some of the important little bits and things in the straight out of the FIBA rules. We're going to go over some of the playing regulations, which is Rule 4, Rule 5, which is violations, Rule 6, which is fouls, and a little bit in the appendix, which I will pull up for you, which is all of the signals, which is what we will go through more in depth on Saturday at the on the floor session. And then we will go through some resources and how to work arbiter. So playing regulations is Rule 4, and that is what we're starting with. 1 through 3 cover, rules 1 through 3 cover the equipment, general terms of what coach teams look like and such. So those ones, if you feel the need to go and look at them, which you should go through and find them, just take a quick read through. They're not particularly interesting, but useful knowledge and could be exam questions. People. So the first important one that we come across in the rules is Article 10, which is the status of the ball. Live ball, dead ball. Everybody's heard everybody say that every now and then. The ball can be live, the ball can be dead. The ball is live after it leaves the hands of the crew chief at the opening toss. So once you've tossed the ball in the air, the ball is now live. More people. During the free throw, when the ball is at the disposal of the shooter. During a throw-in, when the ball is at the disposal of thrower-inner. That's thrower-inner. That's a good word. Any of those times, that is when the ball becomes live. The ball is dead after a goal or free throw is made. A referee blows their whistle. Once you've blown your whistle, the ball is now dead. Nothing spectacular can happen. The game clock sounds or the shot clock sounds. Those are when your ball now becomes dead. If anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I will just keep cruising on through otherwise. Okay, we'll go to the next screen, please. Maybe. We skipped through Article 11 because it's not that interesting. If you're interested in learning what Article 11 is, go look it up. The Article 12, jump ball and alternating possession. So jump ball occurs when the referee tosses it, also when it becomes live. There are very rare situations in which you will have a second actual jump ball. Very, very rare. I did have a clip for you, but I can't get it to work on my computer. So if you want to see it, then you can let me know outside of this and I will send it to you because it's pretty funny. Jump ball starts the alternating possession. Whoever wins the jump ball is deemed to have the first possession, so the opposite team therefore has the next possession in the alternating possession, which is generally what we refer to when we call a jump ball, which is actually in the rule book as a held ball is the correct terminology. held ball occurs when we have one or more players with one or both hands firmly on the ball so that neither one of them can actually gain possession without tossing the other person over their shoulder, essentially. Some other situations where we would go to the alternating possession is double lane violations in free throws, or if you don't know who it went out of bounds off of. Ideally not situations we want to have, but those are other ones where the alternating possession comes into play. Controlling the ball, understanding controlling the ball and what team control is important. Team control starts when the player that is in control of the live ball, either you hold it or you are dribbling the ball. This is continued as you dribble, hold, pass the ball, and ends when the ball is released for a try for a goal, shot, etc. Does come into play in offensive versus defensive fouls later on in life, so understanding that is important. Active shooting is another one that is important, not in terms of general sense, but in applying other things. Active shooting is important. Active shooting starts when the player begins to move in the upward motion towards the opponent's basket and the ball has been released, and ends when the ball has been released from the shooter's hand. So as you move up, that's the active shooting. Once it's released, active shooting is now completed. Ideally, the shooter has returned to the floor before, fouls and such. Continuous movement active shooting begins when the ball comes to rest in the hands of the player after a dribble and or catch, and they begin the upward movement. This one refers to things like layups, commonly referred to as the gather, which FIBA doesn't use. So just as a terminology type situation. Timeouts and substitutions are another important one. I only have timeouts on here. Substitutions are pretty self-explanatory. They run in the same types of dead ball opportunities as timeouts, which those are general dead balls after the whistle is blown, after the ball has gone through the hoop of the opposing team, last made free throw, those types of things. Those are all timeout and substitution opportunities. Timeouts last a minute, not more than a minute. You have a warning horn at 50 seconds. That's when you want to bring the teams out. They want to be on the floor ready to play at the end of that minute. Timeouts can only be requested by the coach or the assistant coach and must go through the scorer's table and your minor officials. They can't just yell at you on the floor and tell you you have to give them a timeout. And no players can tell you that they would like a timeout. It has to come through the coach, through the scorer's table. Any questions on Rule 4 before we move on to violations? One thing in the chat here, but I don't think it's anything of interest. Okay. We're good there. Then we will move on to violations. Fun things. Most common violation, well, the most common thing called, is out of bounds. Easy one. It's in or it's out. Not that hard. So we'll move on to some of the more interesting ones. Looking on me again. Traveling. Traveling is an illegal movement of one or both feet while holding the ball live. Traveling will typically always happen either at the start or the end of a dribble. If they're dribbling, it's not very likely that they are to travel. You want to keep an eye on which is the pivot foot. And a pivot, which for people who don't play basketball makes no sense, but pivot is a legal move in which the player holding the live ball can step around the pivot foot, which is the one that remains on the floor. Fun thing on travels, which every coach seems to think is a travel, players can fall down. They can absolutely fall down. But once they fall down, at whatever point they contact the floor, if it's their back, their butt, their belly, that is now their pivot point. If they attempt to roll or make a new pivot point, that is where you would call the traveling violation. 3 seconds in the key. Player shall not remain in the opponent's restricted area. Restricted area would be what typically people call the key or the paint. Anything in the lane lines, it's usually a different color. For more than 3 consecutive seconds, hence 3 in the key, while the ball is in the front court. You want to, I mean, this is every coach's favorite one to yell at you for, and every referee's least favorite to call. You want to keep an eye out for players that are actively trying to get out of the restricted area, or if there is a shot that goes up or a drive that is about to happen. You want to give a little more leeway on that one there. Closely guarded. We get into the fun number ones. Closely guarded is 5-second count. Closely guarded the defender must be in legal guarding position at a distance of 1 meter or less, actively guarding the person with the ball. The person with the ball then has 5 seconds to either pass, dribble, or shoot. You got to do something within that 5 seconds, otherwise 5 seconds, and you would visibly count on this one. When you see them being actively guarded, closely guarded, start your visible count, get to 5, blow it, 5 seconds. The other one you would 5-second count would be on a throw-in, which I don't think I have this one on this link, but it just came to me. Throw-ins, also 5 seconds. You have 5 seconds from when the ball is at the thrower-inner's disposal to get it onto the floor and touched. 8-second backcourt count. High school, I believe we will be going back to 30 and 10, not 24 and 8, but for the purpose of FIBA rules, we will go 24 and 8 in all of these conversations. 8-second is your backcourt count. Once you've legally touched and or gained control of the ball in the backcourt, you now have 8 seconds to get it to the front court. If you do not get it to the front court within that 8 seconds, 8-second count, that is a violation. Shot clock. You have 24 seconds, 30 probably for BC high school sports. Same as the backcourt count. Once you gain possession of it, within 24 seconds, we have to have a try for a field goal. The ball must touch the ring or enter the basket at the end of that. And the ball must be released prior to the shot clock horn sounding. So if the ball's in hand, shot clock violation, ball is released but not yet touched the ring, you could potentially have a shot clock violation or a play-on situation. If it touches the ring, you have release, horn, ring, A-OK, release, horn, ball hits the floor, shot clock violation. Article 30, ball return to the backcourt. This is commonly referred to as the over and back. You have possession in the front court. You can no longer return the ball to the backcourt. If the ball is returned to the backcourt, it has to be collected by the defensive team or backcourt violation. If the ball is returned to the backcourt by the defensive team, then the offensive team may go collect it. Fun little caveat with that guy is If you have an over and back, the ball violation, you go to the front court or the previous backcourt of the other team. Very commonly, especially in lower level basketball, you will have a return to the backcourt and then immediately again another return to the backcourt. There's some things in the chat that I can't see. We have questions. Excellent. I like this. Yes, I'm recording it. And if they slide when they fall down, this question here, a player who falls down is not traveling when they slide. Yes, that is correct. It's once they move after they've slid. That's the problem. So you can fall down, you can slide when you fall down. It's when you attempt to roll over or move after you've fallen down. That is where the problem comes in. Good question. All right. I don't really know how you would pivot on your stomach, but I'd like to see people try. That's a good question also. You could, I suppose, in theory, as long as you don't scooch across the floor. All right. Going on to fouls, unless anyone has any more questions. Backcourt violation. It's backcourt violation if the ball is inbounded in the offensive zone and passed to the defensive zone. If the ball is inbounded in the front court and passed into the backcourt, the ball has front court status and then would have backcourt status. So yes, it would be a backcourt violation. All right. Moving on to fouls. Super exciting stuff. Oh, this is coming. Jess, you want to come off of mute and ask me your question? I don't know if I understand you.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, sorry. So if you're out of bounds on the offensive side and you want to pass the ball into your player, but he's on the other side of the backcourt line.
So he's in your backcourt.
So you're passing to the backcourt. Is that a backcourt violation?
Yeah, if you're in the front court, if you are in the front court and you are passing the ball to the backcourt violation. If you're in the backcourt, you can pass it to the front court.
No. If you're out of bounds, if
you're out of bounds but in the front court and you pass it towards the backcourt, the ball has front court status. It must remain with front court status.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. All right, fouls. Everybody's favorite. So we're going to start with some general contact principles. The thing that you see at the bottom of, that's going to get really big there. We're going to put this little guy over here so I can still read it. The picture that you see at the bottom of the screen there is diagrams of the cylinder principle and the verticality concept, which we went over if anybody attended the first education session on the 21st. We did go over cylinder and verticality principles. If anyone has any questions on that, feel free to contact me at a later point and I will explain that to you. But cylinder principle and legal guarding position are important concepts to understand. If you don't understand them, please go through the stuff that is on our YouTube page and or the FIBA rulebook. It will do a much better job of explaining it. You are entitled to a spot on the floor as long as it is not already occupied by another player. And the cylinder extends from essentially feet shoulder width apart up in a cylinder around you, all the way to the ceiling, all the way to the floor. Legal guarding position, 2 feet on the floor facing. These are the general ideas in which the protocols of calling criteria is based off of. Helpful to know all these things. Take a good look at those pictures, know them, understand them. So a foul, by definition, straight out of the FIBA rulebook, a personal foul is an illegal contact with an opponent while the ball is either live or dead. A player shall not block, hold, push, charge, trip, impede the progress of an opponent by extending their hands, arms, elbows, shoulders, hip, leg, knee, or foot, or bending abnormally outside of their cylinder. So we go back to the picture of the cylinder. If you are outside of that cylinder, likely contact is going to be a foul. I'm not going to go through each of the individual fouls at this point. There are lots of examples on multiple different sources, which I will show you later. Just know that the first 3, 4, 5 mentioned there are going to be your big hitters. Hold, block, push. Those are going to be the ones that you're probably going to call most often. Biggest part is not necessarily to know which foul it is, but what the point of contact is. If you know what the point of contact is, you can figure out which category of foul that's going to fit into. More important to be able to explain the point of contact to a coach or player than it is to say exactly correctly what it is at this point in stage. Technical fouls, always a fun one. Technical fouls are behavior-based fouls. They are always, most often, non-contact fouls. Some of the ones that FIBA mentions that I personally have called technical fouls for: baiting or taunting, disrespectfully communicating with officials, your minor officials, which are your table officials, or opponents. Beacon off at each other, really not a cool thing. Gesturing. Gesturing to incite or offend spectators. Throwing fingers at people, throwing gang signs at people, not cool. Excessive swinging of elbows. Delay of game. That's a fun one. Faking being fouled. As thoroughly as the FIBA rulebook likes to lay this out, I actually, not that it's the same rule, but it's the intent of the way that the rule is supposed to be used. I like the stuff out of the NBA rules. Their technicals fall under the respect for the game guidelines, which are a little more fun. Comments that undermine the integrity of the official, profanity use, demonstrative acts in resentment to a call or a not call, and continuous or continual complaining and criticism directed at officials, and excessive inquiry. That all, I feel, falls under the disrespectfully communicating with officials, but gives you a little bit better idea of exactly what it is you're looking for when you're talking about technical fouls. They're there as a tool. Use them. Don't be afraid of them. I was terrified of using technical fouls till I figured out that they make my life so much easier. Technical fouls. Useful thing. Unsportsmanlike fouls, these are your contact fouls, your hard fouls. They're typically going to fall into one of the 4 criteria. So criteria number 1 would be contact with an opponent not attempting to legitimately play the ball within the spirit of the rules, typically commonly referred to as no play on the ball. Number 2, criteria 2, C2, excessive hard contact caused by a player in an attempt to play the ball or the opponent. C2s are commonly referred to as excessive hard contact. C3, an unnecessary contact by the defense in order to stop a progression of the offensive team. C3s are typically referred to as transition plays. C4, an illegal contact from the side or behind an opponent who is progressing towards the basket with no players between the opponent and the basket, aka clear path foul. That's those guys. Also lots of videos on these ones on the FIBA website. If you want to go take a look at those ones, they go through them thoroughly. Disqualifying foul, this one I really hope that you don't run into, but it's on here in case you do. Disqualifying foul for any flagrant or unsportsmanlike actions by players, coaches, or substitutions. If somebody goes and tries to deck somebody else, please toss them. It's just really not worth it. It's way easier to fill out a game report than it is to have somebody deck somebody else. It's just no fun. No thank you. The Appendix A is at the bottom of the rule book. It goes through all of the signals like you see on the screen here. It will basically lay out how they want you to go through it. And we will go through all of the signals on Saturday if you come out. If not, we can give you a quick run through on any of the other sessions. Legitimately, if you go through these one by one in front of a mirror, you can usually figure out an idea of what you want to look like. I have done this at work. I don't have a mirror, so I can't see what I look like, but I do practice my mechanics at work. I will go through my numbers as I pick up flyers. I work for Canada Post. So as I put flyers in, I will do the numbers of my PO boxes as I'm putting my flyers in. It is something that you absolutely will have to practice and get used to. But we will start that. It will feel awkward, and I will pull up the rule book so we can look at some of these in a second. I do have a question here in this chat. How do you describe a player shunning to get attention on fouls, even if there is no contact? If they're doing it as a continuous thing, I would first have a conversation with them and be like, hey, dude, you're not even getting hit. What the heck? It would probably, I would say, fall under the category of faking a foul. So you could give them a fake foul warning first for, shouting, and because that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to fake foul. If you give the warning and they're still doing it, then you give them the technical, and then they only need 2 of those, and then they can just go away and sit on the bench and not be a problem for you anymore. That pretty much concludes the highlights of the rules that I have on here. If anybody has any questions, feel free to come off of mute and or throw them in the chat. These are the resources that I have. The Fraser Valley YouTube page has some playlists made from other resources to go in depth on some of the other rules, charges, traveling, there is one that does a pretty decent visual on how the 0 step works in traveling. So you can check those guys out. They are useful. Game Plan has a number of resources on it as well. And the FIBA IRAF Academy, which you can download on your phone, or there is the webpage as well, which if I can exit out of this, I can show you. This is our YouTube page. These are the playlists that I was talking about. We've got a rules playlist here. Has a number of things on it. I'm going to pause this immediately because it's going to make noise. Illegal use of the arm. We go through the 0 step. There's one on the rule changes in case you missed the presentation from earlier. The cylinder, foul, and block charges. Traveling. There's a number of those guys on there. This one it's got a rookies playlist going on here. It's got the basketball BC fouls and mechanics ones. It does rules and violations. They did that one, I think, probably 2 years ago, I believe those ones were from. There is a section on basic 2-person mechanics, which if you want to look through that one before the weekend. Let me try and make this small as I can. See what I'm doing? Wrong page. What? Nivens? Interesting. This is the link for you could just come off of mute and tell me that, Nivens.
Well, I'm trying to have my dinner here at the same time. Are you trying to show the YouTube page?
Yeah, is it not coming up?
No, your PowerPoint presentation
Okay, hold on.
page, which shows the resources.
Let me try technology one more time.
I finished my bite, so I could come off mute for you.
Excellent. Oh, so small. Please pause while I try and work. There. How about now? Now what do you see?
Well, YouTube channel. Yep.
There.
Yep.
That's the one?
You got it. Good job.
Okay. We'll start from the top then. This is our lovely YouTube page. These are the playlists. We've got all those ones, goes through some rule stuff. The rookie one, which is probably going to be the ones that you guys want to go through if you get a chance. The basketball BC ones are quite long, but informative. Some of the other ones are a little shorter, which is more useful. There's Ontario Basketball did a really good job of explaining 2-person mechanics. That's not what we wanted. 2-person mechanics, so that one's really good to check out. There's some things that go through the mechanics and how those guys work. This one is not yet listed because it still isn't unlisted. It is the session from last night, which was spectacular. All 3 speakers did a really great job. If you want to check that one out, I believe Bob will send out the link for that. If you have questions, just ask them.
Well, I'm not wanting to butt in on your YouTube overview there. So that's actually one thing I want to quickly mention on game plan. A lot of people probably don't know what game plan is and how they get into game plan to get information. So it may be helpful to cover that very quickly, and then I have a couple questions after that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is game plan. This is Canada Basketball's thing, we'll call it. You log in if you have a login. If not, then you apply for one. It gives
Only
you
for registered officials. So
Yeah,
once you've registered with Basketball BC, you will then you'll have access to game plan, and that will be covered in more, I guess, and maybe in another meeting. But a lot of that information is on your own to review. But only when you're a registered official can you get that information.
So once you're registered and you sign up for game plan, you will log in, as I have done here. On the official side, there is a coaches section as well. It will give you all sorts of information like your numbers and whatnot. The important parts for learning will be under tools. You got videos, links, documents. Documents will have the FIBA rulebook. Wow, my internet is slow. FIBA rulebook and things like that. General things. The IREF Academy, which I will pull up on another screen. Officials manual. It's got some rules workshops, stuff like that. Points of emphasis. Rules and guidelines. That's where you're going to find all of the rules if you go here. IoTs comes up with the IoT manual. New officials, the NOCP 0. FIBA documents, rule changes, 3-person stuff. That's those guys. Videos is another useful place to go. It has all of the webinars on it. So the points of emphasis from this year, that one's there. They go through all of the FIBA signals on here. They have people show you how to do that. They have, that's the rule change. That's the rule changes. The unsportsmanlike fouls, they have videos that they go through on there. It says 5 because the 5th one has now changed to not actually a unsportsmanlike foul. It's just a throw and foul. It's same, but different. So those are some really good resources there. This is also where you're going to go to write your FIBA exam or your CAPO exam. If it will load. Please. So you have the practice exam here and the actual exam as well, because it is now open as of yesterday. To right there. It also has the previous exams that you have written. Clearly I passed, which is good. I should pass. That is game plan. Anything else? Oh, the NOCP workshops will be under the workshops tab or the sessions tab. The workshops also show any of the webinars that they are going to be hosting, which this is the last one that they did do, which was the Q&A on the rules and interpretations. The sessions, I don't think they will come up with any because there aren't any at the moment if it wants to load. But that will be where you can go. So there is an NOCP 1 available at some point. And then it will show what you need and when they are available. I think that's it for game plan.
On the exam point, a lot of new officials are challenged every year to access the exam. I've had to email back to Ontario, to the lady back there with CBOC, to try and get people added. So if and when any of you who have registered and you are logging into game plan and you cannot find the exam, don't worry about it. It will be reviewed later this month. Is it November 25th, I think?
I think that's the date.
So we will have a exam review session for everybody, whether you're able to get in on your own or not. That won't really be a problem. What we've done in other years is we've prepared an exam for new officials only, in order to allow them to write the exam. Because our thing with FIBA is we really want everybody to write the exam. So even new officials, if you can't access the CBOC one, we do prepare our own. Yeah, so don't be bothered if you can't get in there and you want to write the exam. We will make it happen. Could I go back to the timeout situation?
No.
Could you cover how should officials administer a timeout? How many timeouts are there? When do they talk to the coaches about how many remaining, that kind of thing? But how to properly administer, because especially being new, people don't know that they need to get in and break the huddle and get them playing right away. So the earlier they can do that, the less mistakes they will make than you or I have done.
So many mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Short story, I was lucky enough to attend the U17 national tournament in St. John's this year, and one of their big points of emphasis was people and players getting out on the floor and ready to play being ready to play at the buzzer, which is exactly how the timeout is intended. And we were, as a crew, terrible at this, but by the end of the week, we had every one of those teams out and on the floor at the minute mark. We got yelled at for an entire week. So we yelled at the teams for an entire week, but we got her done. It is a very important piece. Timeouts, once your table tells you that you have a timeout, you indicate which direction you're going to go. Timeout, that way, timeout, blue. Tell them which direction, indicate which team has the timeout. You're going to go chat with your partner for, 30-ish seconds by the time you get over there.
What happens with the ball?
The ball is going to go on the floor where you're going to put the ball in. Leave it on the floor. If you're going to administer free throws, you're going to put it on the free throw line. If you're going to put the ball in after a made basket, you're going to put it either under the basket or whichever side, so that you know that you have the end line to run. If you are putting it in as a throw-in, put it on the throw-in spot. Know which direction you're going. When you come back from your timeout, indicate that direction as well. Go to your timeout. Your 3 places on the floor when you, as officials, that you want to stand are going to be sort of free throw line extended on either end of the floor if that's the closest point to you, or center if that's the closest point to you as well. You can chat with your partners about things that you are seeing in the game. You want to tighten up on dribble or contact, stuff like that. From there, at 50 seconds, you're going to get a 50-second horn. So prior to the 50-second horn, 10 seconds to the end of the timeout, you want to be over at the team at that horn. You're going to blow your whistle, preferably not on top of the horn, either right before or right after, just so there's not noise everywhere. You're going to start breaking that huddle. That is their warning horn. That is essentially the end of their timeout. They have that 10 seconds from the 50-second to the 60-second mark to get on the floor and ready to play. If they don't break the timeout, you're going to get into their timeout. Not obnoxiously. Well, obnoxiously so. I'm pretty obnoxious about it, I'd like to say. You're going to really let them know that they got to get out of their timeout and on the floor. If they still choose not to, you can give them delay a game warning, or you can charge them a second timeout. Most of them, either of those two options, you're only going to have to do it once because they're going to get the picture. It is a really bad problem in BC. All of our teams are terrible about coming out of timeouts. Any questions on timeouts?
So that should not matter whether they're grade 8, grade 9, 3A, 4A boys or girls.
Absolutely not.
The timeout situation, it does happen in a game. A team has 2 timeouts in the first half, 3 timeouts so if each team call 5, like we could have a lot of timeouts, and the longer we take, the longer we're going to be there. If you allow them to have a 2-minute timeout, a lot of them will take a 2-minute timeout. So the earlier that a lot of our newer officials handle this, the better your games will go, and
the easier your life will be.
Yeah, much easier. So be there, at like 45, at 50 seconds when the horn goes, the whistle should go. They should be breaking, and we'll cover that more in the upcoming scrimmages for sure, so that people can see that firsthand how it could or should be done. Hopefully your partners during the season will be better at this as well.
And if your partners suck at it, then help them be better at it, because now you know better.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this is the FIBA IREF Academy, which they have an app as well, which you can download to your phone, which has all of the same things that they have on their website, but on your phone. It's useful for things like the rules, because you can download the rules on your phone. The rules will be on there. It's far easier to find them on here than or at least I feel, than any of the other websites, because they're not hidden. It's literally right under rules. And then the first thing that's there is, whoa, the rules, which look like this lovely document. The highlighted things are the new language changes. The bold red things are usually important statements that you want to pay attention to. That's actually not being the interpretations. That's actually the interpretations. Rules. Got a lot of diagrams. Rule 3, teams. Article 4, definition of teams. Goes through all the definitions, what the rule is, how it should be applied, what the penalties are. That's the fun reading on that one. The interpretations is the little case explanations for each of these rules. Goes through some situations. It gives you an example, the interpretation of exactly how that rule should or should not be applied. This is a helpful document, especially if you do write the exam on your own, or even to go through before you write the exam, because a lot of the questions that they put on the exam do come directly out of the interpretations. The other fun thing on this guy is the tools thing. It's got the pregame app so that you can run through some stuff as well. The materials library has all sorts of things on it. They have a video library on here as well. So they've got like plays of the week and things like that. Fun resource to check out. So you can look at that one. And then I think the only thing I've got left is going through Arbiter, if Trevor's paying attention still. This is Arbiter. This is where you're going to get your games from. This is what it looks like for you, those of you who have not been on it. Those who are new may or may not be added to our Fraser Valley yet. I have multiple different associations, but you will have for sure this one, and likely a basketball BC one or a Lower Mainland Spring and Summer one if you work summer ball. So once you've logged in, this will be your first sort of default page. You're going to go into the Fraser Valley. This will be the dashboard page. It's got all of the little action items, upcoming schedule things, announcements from different things. Trevor's got one from us from last year. That's one from Canada West, which is a different conference. It's got your games listed there for what you're going to do. You can go into schedule, which is where you will find all of your games. So in the schedule here, we have these games that I have already accepted, already in there. It's got the time, it's got the date, it's got your position. If you go into the little numbery thing, it'll tell you more information, which we will do in a second. If it is yellow like this, they are new assignments. So Trevor has given me these games, and I want to either accept or decline them. If you decline them, you will be required to provide a reason why you are declining something that you have not already blocked off. Because if you are declining things when you have open blocks, you should really have already blocked that. So we would go through and accept these and hit submit. And then it's going to take forever to load. And then it's going to go gray. So it tells you the site and the school and the home and the away school. The cross, I am the referee as opposed to the U1. And I'm definitely not going to get to Chilliwack at 5 on a Wednesday. So if you want more information about these games, you can go into the little numbers on the side there.
That link shows your partner, so that's helpful, especially for newer people to know who they're reffing with.
And
Yeah.
and can I add, Marisa, while I'm
Absolutely. I'm gonna pull it up on my I can't. Yes, I can. Okay, keep going. I'm gonna pull it up on my app too.
Well,
Like.
I mean, you're in. This is from if you've logged into the web-based component. There is an app that also works in a different.
It looks like this.
It looks quite different, but from here, if you wanted to, there's an email crew right above where it shows the emails, and that will.
This guy right here.
And it will email your crew and say, hey, I'm coming straight from work. I'm going to be tight on time, something like that. We want to communicate with your crew beforehand. In the app, there is a text your crew, which is, I think, in today's day and age, a little more appropriate.
It's a very useful feature, especially if you have multiple people on a crew.
And then click on your partner's name there, Marisa, because this will also open up your partner's profile. You'll see, oh, that's that. Who's that ugly guy? And where does he live? Where is he coming from? There's his phone numbers, email. You can get all that info just by clicking on your partner's name. I encourage everybody to upload a picture because we have 95 people on our list and I'm adding new ones all the time. So I kind of wouldn't mind seeing, and your partner to know who they're looking for when they get into a gym. You could
how should they add the picture, Trevor? It might be helpful to show that quickly.
Well, before we leave here, I also want you to click on anything that's blue is live. So under the site, you can click on Chilliwack Senior main gym. And from here, you can actually click on the address and it'll take you right to Google Maps and contacts that are there. Not all schools have contacts that have phone numbers that are listed or email addresses, but they'll all have some link to that school. They may not have cell phones. It might just be the main school number, but you can get some information from that. So exit out of that. And then Paul, you can go into how you're going to do how you're going to upload a photo. Marisa, do you not have a photo in your account?
I don't. I'm really bad.
Oof.
I don't know if I have a picture on my computer that I could put in there, but we can give it a go.
Click on your profile. There you go.
I don't like looking at myself, so I don't put a picture in there. But that's how you would go about updating any of your information. Could it change
Add
your cell phone
email.
number, your email, your address, emergency contact?
How do you upload
picture.
a photo? There you go. Add photo.
Replace.
And then you would find your picture. Oh, there. Put you on a horse.
There,
I
there's
want
me.
that one right there.
There's me on a horse. There we go. On a horse. There we go. It
Now
really
we know
distorts
something
that picture.
about you
That's
too.
beauty.
Now you're sharing something with your fellow association that, oh, she's a equestrian enthusiast.
Yep.
Okay, how about blocks? How about setting blocks?
Blocks. Those are so much fun. So
This
you
is the
go
most
to this
important thing
lovely,
that
Yeah.
you need to learn.
to the part that says blocks. We're gonna not change my Canada West or Pac West blocks because they're pretty much everywhere at this point anyway. So the blue guys are events and or games, which those are the ones that I just accepted on that one. These lovely little blue guys here. There shows the game number of the ones that I just accepted at Chilliwack. The red ones are full day blocks, and what color is that? Pink? Salmon? Salmon. The salmon colored ones are part day blocks. So if we wanted to set blocks, we would not be in view schedule. We would block, let's say, a part of the day because I work 8:30 till 5, pretty much Monday to Friday. Gives you your
range.
Gives you your time range. So I could, should there be a game that was
So I'm going to ask you a question, Marisa, because while we're here.
Yep.
Why do you not have 8 to 5 blocked off from Monday to Friday on November 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 18th, 19th? You should have part day block on every single day that you work.
I should.
Because I don't know if maybe you got the day off. Maybe it's a stat holiday and the mail, the Canada Post is off for some unknown reason. And I see you available at 10:15 on a Tuesday morning where I happen to have some random game that was thrown at me. And I'm thinking, great, Marisa's available. And I put her in and then you decline it.
And then we're sad.
Yeah. And then So you've got your 8:30 to 5, then go pick your date range on the right.
And then you go pick
So pick from now until March. Or whenever that.
from yesterday
Yeah, until whenever.
until March 31st.
Right. And then click on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Click apply. And this goes for all students, all people that have normal jobs. As soon as you do that, you're going to have that set for the entire season. You just did all your blocks.
Ta-da!
Now you can set blocks on top of blocks. So now you've got 8:30 to 5 set every weekday from now until whenever. If there's a day that's all day, it's one of those days, you can go in and just click that one day and click an all day block. So now you actually have 2 blocks. Or you could click, I've got a strata meeting that night at 7. So I could be open from 5 to 7, but at 7, I've got to be at a strata meeting. So now you could click a second part day block on that day that would go from 7 till midnight or something. Right. So it's quite handy. And if you need to clear a block, you could click clear block and then just go. So click on clear block. Okay. And go click on Monday, the 11th, and just click on the 11th. And you just cleared that block.
Yeah, we are open.
Yeah. So that's, it's an easy way to do it. I would say block more than you like. Don't leave it open. Oh, I don't want to limit my assigner. The worst thing is a decline game is worse than you not being available. Because if I'll send an email when nobody's available, I'm like, I have all these games and nobody's available. And if you're like, I can shuffle some things, you can put me in there. I can always override your block if you give me the green light to do it. But if you show available and you actually aren't, that's far worse. Because I click go thinking it's covered, close my computer, go to bed that night, only to wake up to a bunch of people declined. So block more than as much as you think, and then adjust as we go. Make sense?
Makes sense. Anybody have any questions?
No, that's great. We do have a document we will email out to everybody, a little cheat sheet, which covers a lot of this, what we talked about. It'll be a handy PDF to refer to, but a very good point, as Trevor mentioned, please add the picture, because for a lot of us, with 90 some people in our group, a lot of us don't know everybody, and especially all the newer people don't know anybody. But if you see the picture, you're like, oh yeah, I remember seeing him or her in a meeting, or I remember wrestling with him, but I can't remember his name. So having the picture is very helpful for you throughout the season. So, and Marisa, good that you finally got your own picture in there.
Yeah.
Wow. So people kind of know who you are on a horse, but
I'll get a better picture eventually.
I'll find one for you.
Oh, you will you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got sources. Yeah.
You can also set blocks for schools or partners or anything like that if you feel the need. I don't have any of those set because I don't have a need to, but should you, find somebody that you absolutely hate working with, you can block them as partner. There are limits though. You can't have like 45 people blocked as
You're
partners.
allowed one. Trevor will probably add in before, but
Is
you're
it
allowed
one or is it 2? I thought it was 2.
I think it's 2.
If you're getting more people that you can't ref with, then
The problem might be you. Maybe the problem's you, not the other.
Right. But saying that has happened to newer people over the years. They've reached out to me and thought that was a problem, and I assured them it's not. There will be people you just don't mesh with, and some people don't like reffing with newer people. Some people don't like reffing with younger people. Some people don't like reffing with older people. Some people don't like reffing with females. Like it's all over the place. Like, so don't. We do have a lot of really good people, a lot of great people you'll learn from, but if you please reach out to Trevor. Please reach out to me. Please reach out to Marisa. It shouldn't be a problem, but if it ever is, we're here to help you with that.
All right. I think that's all I got. Unless anybody has any questions, rules, any questions about arbiter, any questions about where to find resources. We will go. Oh, I was going to go through. If I can get it to pull up. Yeah. Come on. Go. These are rules. These are rules. At the bottom of the rules is here. This is the one that you want to go through that has all of the mechanics. Would be a useful thing just to even peruse through if you are going to come out to any of the sessions or before you get on any of the floor stuff. Just so you have a vague idea of what it is that you're looking at when you do it. Other than that, I think we are just about done. Unless people have questions.
Maybe mention about the upcoming training sessions to get people plugged into those.
November the 9th, we are at Westview in Maple Ridge. It is a open rookie / new official training session. We will spend a bit of time going through each of the mechanics. We will go through the entire list of mechanics from the appendix, which is what we just ran through. We will go through that. We will go through the positions, where to stand, how to blow the whistle, all of that. We will also get on the floor. I have a couple of games that are going to run. We're going to rotate through people so that everyone can get a chance to get on the floor and figure out how to do reffing life. The 16th, November the 16th, we will be at Rick Hansen Secondary in Abbotsford. That will be a general session, so more geared towards the people who have done it before, but that doesn't mean if you aren't new that you cannot come. There is a place for you. There is lots of education there. You will learn absolutely lots. That one will also have games so that people can get on the floor. We are planning on doing some classroom stuff in there as well. Their idea will be to rotate through in small groups so that everybody gets a chance to get through the classroom stuff and the on-floor stuff. The 23rd is more scrimmage based, so if you want to get on the floor with some feedback, we've got some wonderful people out for that one. Carrie Rokosh, who was on the call last night, as well as Eric, who is our president, will be at that one for sure, as well as some other really, really helpful people to give you some real-time on-floor feedback as you are on the floor. And those are our in-person training sessions that we have coming up. So basically next 3 weekends, there will always be something on a Saturday morning. The times and informations will also be emailed out by Bob as they come up.
Do we wear a uniform there?
Yes. If you have it, bring it.
All right.
I don't anticipate that everyone will come prepared. So, but it's better to have it and use it if you have it. The teams know that we are doing training stuff, so they will be on the lookout for people who are randomly standing there in a shirt with a whistle.
Shorts are fine though, Richard. We don't need pants yet.
Whatever you want to wear.
If you want to wear your ref pants,
As long as you can
to
run
break
in
them
it.
in, bring them
I
out.
usually have them on pants, so.
All right. No other questions? We're good?
I have one for you for when the ball gets stuck in the hoop. That's
Jump ball.
all correct.
Jump ball. Yep. That was one of the jump ball situations. Correct. Is it okay just to observe on the 16th? Absolutely. If you aren't comfortable with getting on the floor yet, that is a-okay. If you want to just come and observe and watch how people do what they do, that is a brilliant way to learn. And absolutely, please just come out. The classroom stuff will be useful for you. Watching other officials work will be useful for you. Absolutely come out. All right. No other questions? Perfect. All right, well, have a good night, everyone. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I am happy to ask and answer any questions that anybody has. The exam is open book, yes. And we will do a group write on the 25th as well, so that anybody who wants to attend that can. Excellent. Have a good night, guys.